This video is not gonna be about specific plugins or specific technical stuff. It's gonna be about my mindset and my thoughts and creativity, and hopefully that can help you as a creative, no matter what you're working on, if it's music or if it's drawing or movie. So I want to start with talking about why do I make music. I do it to have fun. I do it to channel my emotion and energy into something. I do it because it's a social thing. I get a connection with other people and I get a context to be in. And also, I do it because I have to. Ideas spin around in my head at all time, and I don't fall asleep if I have these melodies just stuck in my head. But I don't do music to get rich. Don't get me wrong, I want to get rich, but I don't want to get rich just because I'm doing music. I want to make money from doing those things, having fun, being social, and channeling my emotions and my ideas somewhere. So let's start with how I approach making a song, and specifically starting a song. I have realized that I have two different melodic languages. One is the one where I'm writing ideas and I'm trying to make a song, so I'm sitting and trying to write melodies. But the other melodic language is when I'm just jamming, when I'm improvising, when I'm playing. And those two have different vibes and different styles to them. And I love both of them, but honestly, I'm a little bit obsessed with the one where I'm improvising and that being in that moment and capturing that moment. And when I started making music, I tried to get that melodic language in by adding a solo in the end of the song and just saying, if it's a good take, that's the one that ends up on the song. But now I want that improvisation moment to be the core of the song. So, what is a moment? It could be me humming while I'm playing computer games, or a sentence I heard that I resonated with, or an improvisation with a friend or on stage. Things that happens not because I am forcing them, but because they come to me. And it's those things that I now start songs with. So we have voice recordings, we have bits from solos, and like camera recordings from gigs because we sometimes didn't capture that audio perfectly. And that segues into my next part, which is about quality and sound selection. When I started making music, I thought it was so important to have the best microphone. It had to be the perfect gain. It had to be no noise whatsoever. And I used to remove that perfect take because it wasn't the perfect sound. And I'm not talking about it being terrible. I'm talking about it not feeling as it should have been. It wasn't that perfect mic distance. It isn't audible, but I know it, and it was annoying at first. But now I can take recordings that had a noise in the background and add it anyway, because in the context it doesn't really matter. So I'm more about the idea than that perfect thing. But don't get me wrong. The right sound is still super important. The right sound doesn't necessarily have to be about quality, but the right sound is the most important thing. It's like the core idea. And if you have the right sound, everything else becomes much easier. You don't have to mix it to make it fit in the song. If it is a right sound, it will already have its place in the song. Okay, so when we have that moment, that spark, that initial idea of a song, what's next? I used to try and do arrangements that sounded as if they were on the radio. You know, intro, chorus, bridge. Wait, intro, verse, chorus, bridge. You can see I haven't done this in a while. But I realized that my personal preference is when a song builds up over time. So starting simple with that spark and maybe a kick drum and something simple, and then after a little time adding one more element, then maybe go back again and add all those things in the intro, but with more stuff. So basically playing with the dynamics up and down, but over time adding a little more. And it's not until the end of the song that you get that combination of everything. You have all the drums, all the fills, all the extra layers of synths. I really like when songs progress over time. The danger with this approach, however, of adding more and more stuff as the song progresses, is that it can become too much. And boy, did I fall victim for that so much when I was younger, and I probably still do. But I try to have this question in my head when I add new stuff. Could this thing that I add, be the centerpiece of a new song? Could that be the core of a new song? If it could be, save that for another song instead. Then it's probably too much. I want it to be cohesive during the entire song, and rather make it a shorter song in that same vibe than doing too much. And when it comes to mixing and polishing the sounds and tweaking it for final release, I also tend to not be able to say when I'm done. But here I have I have a similar technique, which is ask myself, am I improving the song with these changes or mixes? Or am I just changing the song? And when I'm starting to change the song instead of improving the song, that's when I know I'm done. So if you were to take 3 things with you from this video, I would want them to be: 1, figure out what you want from creating. Not just say, I want to create. Be more specific on why you want to do what you want to do. The second thing is, for every art piece, figure out the core of that art piece and let that be the core, and everything else you do it to enhance that piece. If something else is taking over or competing with that first core, make that into a second core of the second piece. And third, think about, are you improving your art or are you changing it? Because if you're changing it instead of improving it, maybe it's already done. With that, be creative and have a good time. Ciao.